Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Underground Cave. I am Geltip, and this is Mini Painting with Geltip. Now, tonight is the final Thursday night paint along of the season, and it's also my final stream of the season, as I will be off for the month of December for the holiday season, getting things ready around the house. We'll be back in January, but I figured we'd make this our last stream, and it kind of falls pretty good on the last Thursday night paint along. So yeah, it's been a blast this year, and I would no sound. I'm showing sound. Oh, it's just quiet. You might have me turned down just a little bit, because I'm almost in the yellow over here. But how are you doing, Orcs Paint Shop? So yeah, this will be my final stream for 2023. We're going to continue on with this guy right here, the BugBear giant rat from Kawna Minis. If you haven't been to her mini factory, please go do so and check out what they have. They got a lot of nice adventure cat miniatures. She 3D sculpts them, and then if you have a 3D printer, you can get the STLs. If not, then there's a place that she has on her page where you can buy the actual miniatures. They print them out. She's a very talented sculptor, and that's what I'm going to probably keep doing next year. I'm going to incorporate some more digital sculptors out there, so be on the lookout for that. So some things going on next year. I just want to remind everybody, I won't be here in December, so I want to remind you that I will be teaching at CaptainCon in Rhode Island, Warwick, Rhode Island, February 2nd to the 4th. I'll be teaching 4 classes there. Most of what you've seen on the stream already, but if you don't know what I'm teaching the glazing technique, all about contrast. I'm also teaching how to add personality to miniatures, so that if you have a lot of open space, or how can you make your captain look different than your regular, shoot 'em up troops. And also the new one that I'll be teaching is making faces simple. So painting faces, a lot of people don't like to paint faces, and we'll try to push all that stuff down. But that's at Captain Con. I'll be back in January to keep promoting that. So there's that. But tonight is the last Thursday night paint along. So if you have your miniature that you've been working on, it could be any giant rat really, but if you have the Kawna Minis and you have your paints ready to go and your paintbrushes, well, then let's just paint. You're good. I am good. Wish you would respond to your text, Mr. Busy Pants. I know work has been a little nuts at the end of the year here, trying to finalize things at work, such as POs and paying out vendors and things like that. So this year has been just a tad bit crazy. But and next year I think it's just Adepticon at the beginning of the year, Capticon at the beginning of the year, and then I think I'm done with conventions for 2000. No, I have another one at the end of February that I'm painting for. So other than that, I think we'll be done with D&D soon, and we'll be done with convention stuff soon, and I can start working on all of the stuff that needs to get worked on. And I'm looking at December to get through all of my backlog. So, needed time off. But I will respond to your message. I saw it came through. There's a lot of stuff that I'm doing. Okay, so let me get back to where we were at. This is what we were painting up. And you can see that a lot of the fur is just this flat area right there. And we're adding in the fur. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. I didn't do anything over the Turkey Day holiday weekend. There was a lot of family in town, and there was a lot of things going on. So I didn't really touch the hobby bench at all. So I didn't do any of the stuff that I told you to do for homework. So we'll work on that stuff. Today I want to get some of the fur done. I'm going to edge highlight, and then it's not far from being done. We got the belt that we got to work on, but we'll do all of that stuff. So we're doing more of the true metallic metals. So you can't see it on stream, but there is some lightness to certain things here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to finish this off today if we can, so that I don't leave you with an unfinished model. But you know how it is. I gave you all the tools. So anything that we did in the first 3 episodes, we're just going to do here. The only difference that we haven't done is any of the edge lining or black lining or dark lining around surfaces, and I will show you how to do that before we leave if this is your first time around here. Okay, so with that said, let's go through the paint palette that I put up on Discord. If you want to do these Thursday night paint-alongs, if you join the Discord and go to Thursday night paint-alongs, I give you the basic palette, so you just find the colors you have. I will tell you the paints that I use, which I'm going to do right now, and then if I can find the alternates to things, I will post them up there. I don't have all of the paints out there. but I have some of them. So, and then next year I'm thinking of doing something a little different. Maybe we'll have a point reward saying, hey, I want you to paint this model in these with this color scheme. So I'll give you a chance to challenge me as opposed to me challenging you. All right, let's go through the paints really quick. The black and whites that I'm using, you can use any black and white. However, I'm using Reaper Miniatures MSP Car Colors 07478 and 0479. This is solid white and solid black. Again, any white and black will do. Sticking with the Reaper MSP, I will show you the other three that we have. We're using Wilderness Green 09411, Polished Silver 0954. I do own most of them, yes. And Deep Red from 09002. These are all MSP core colors. Or Master Series paints. So those are the 5 Reaper stuff that we've used in this this paint along. The Monument Hobbies ones, I have 4 of those, and that is my go-to mahogany. I use this for all my wood stuff. To stay on with the wood, we have some burnt sienna. So I use burnt sienna for Monument Hobbies, followed by some yellow ochre from Monument Hobbies. And then my other Monument Hobbies one is the dark silver. So just a dark silver you have. There's Dark Star Molten Metals. There's Reaper Dark Silvers, Citadel Dark Silvers, Army Painter Dark Silvers. I'm sure you can find a dark silver. We're using ivory. Ivory is from Vallejo. Model color is 70.918. This is just ivory. So we're using that for my ivory, but Monument Hobbies also makes a ivory. So does Reaper Miniatures. Citadel makes an ivory, although I think they call it Screaming Skull or something like that, or Wraithbone. And then just to throw in a little bit of blue, this is what we use for the eye. If I can find some blue, maybe I'll stick it in with some green and get some extra shadow in for the green. We'll see. But we have the blue on hand for that. Now, the one new thing that I'm going to try to work on, and I'm going to try to use this tool a little bit more in my repertoire. I made this makeshift wet paper towel. This is a wet paper towel, and it comes from a Bones blister. It's just a blister. That's all it is. So if you have a blister, you can make this. I just jammed in a whole bunch of paper towel in here, and then I wetted it, so it's very moist. If I put a parchment paper on here, I can make a small wet palette. But what I am going to do with this is when I rinse out my brush, right, I rinse it out with paint, and then I will wipe it on here, and it will make that nice sharp point that I want. So it'll keep all the bristles. So instead of me trying to get that point on a wet palette, I'm going to use this guy here. So if you, again, it's very simple. It's a blister pack, paper towels, you wet it, you get it moist in there, and then you just rub your brush on there, and it should get you a nice sharp tip. And that's kind of what we need here to do some of these detail things. And we're going to need to do that to make all these hairs. Okay, so the tiny hairs is time consuming. We know that because we've been doing it. And you're going to start with some light colors you're going to start with some nice dark grays here. So you want this dark gray, and then all of your hairs need to be lighter, right? So we have all these light hairs here, and then I'm just going to progressively get up to lighter and lighter grays, and I'm going to stay with the highlight, right? So on the brighter ones, I'll go pure ivory and make those little lines. And again, it's all organic, so you can't go wrong with this. Well, you can if you make a big fat line. We're not going to do that, right? All right. So with that, let's make some grays. So we're going to take our black and our white and our ivory. So let's get some black on here. Get a nice healthy dose of black, nice healthy dose of ivory, and a little bit of white. And I'm making these wells up on top. I learned this from watching Jeff Davis, who's an amazing miniature painter. So you make these wells on top and you don't contaminate them. You always kind of bring them in and blend in. So we're going to take a nice large brush. Now I'm going to show you this brush here. So all I'm doing, oh, stay there. So here I'm going to do this. And if you notice, that does not come to a nice point. Look at that. That's bristles right there. And that's how I know this is a synthetic brush and not a hair brush, because look at that curl right in there. See that curl at the tip? Now I could probably still use this for other things, but I'm not going to use it for my fur, but I can mix with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab some black. Let's grab 4 of these blacks right here. And we'll rinse that out. Okay. And then we're going to take some ivory and we're going to just kind of keep adding ivory until we get something that's just a tad bit lighter than what's back there. So I think this back here was, I think it was an even mixture. So let's see what this does. So I'm just going to add it right in there. And notice that I haven't contaminated my wells here. So let's see. So this is a little dark, right? That's a little dark. So we're going to get some more ivory in there. So maybe it's a 4-to-2 mixture. So we'll get some more ivory. And again, get some water or medium, and that'll mix up nice for you. And then we'll test it on here. So that looks like it is the consistency that I have right here, right? So if I can paint this whole big fat edge there, and that's the color that I have in here. So if I wanted to, I could go in and I could make little hairs with this color if you think that this is all dark, right? So we need to add some ivory to that to lighten it up. Now I'm not going to add a lot of ivory, maybe that much ivory. And we're just going to lighten up a little bit of this. You want to be able to see what you're lighting up. And I'll add a little bit more so we can get more of this color. And I can also add, and I can push in some of this darker if it's too bright. But that looks like a good plan right there. And the idea here is to keep adding more and more ivory until we get to an ivory status. Hey, antifreeze, what's going on? How are you? All right, so we'll get our nice little hair brush, our little liner right there. Let's get some music on so I'm not a bad streamer. And let's see, what's a good one? Let's do some VHS for right now, because I'm a 80s dude. I'll bring that down so you can hear me, but you can also hear some music. All right, so I'm just going to take this, going to load up that brush. And as I load it up, I'll twirl it around that paint on the paint palette. You want to have a nice sharp point. And you're just going to, very lightly, you're just going to make some lines, and it doesn't matter where they go. Stay on the high points if you can. And you always want to go with the flat surface since this is coming downward. and curving this way, that's how I want to do my little lines here. Notice that I'm not doing all of it. I'm just hitting very, very fine lines. And you can even go back to some of the stuff you were working on if there was something that was too fat. So I'm just twirling around the mixture in there. And just kind of hit. Now it doesn't, I mean, you're only doing this to kind of break up that dark area. When we get to the brighter grays and brighter ivories, it's really going to show. So we're going to do this guy over here. How are you doing today, Antifreeze? What are you working on now, Orc? Are you doing any hobbying lately? Or are you just playing at the moment? And Antifreeze, I got a new air compressor coming this weekend. I got one that has a regulator. I also got one that has a tank, so I don't know if you've heard of Vivo Home. But it's got a tank, it's got a regulator. It goes from 0 to 150 psi, which is kind of nice. And I know that, I think when we were talking, you said that a tank is pretty much a must-have when it comes to miniature painting. Now under here where this is nice and dark, I'm still going to do this, but I may not go, I might keep it gray. I may not go to the full ivory. Do what I can when I can. There you go. Just add a little bit of water to this to kind of reconstitute it. Make sure you have that point. All you're doing is using the point. See? You're just breaking up anything that needs to be broken up. Here, this little hair right here, they all go down. So that's kind of where I want to put this. And you'll notice that as you do this, it sort of looks like it was textured all the way through, but it's not. You're actually putting that in. See, I put in all of this stuff. Or, well, anybody that was watching the stream. So I'll just kind of, and I can make these as long as I want. Or as short as I want. The whole point is they're just thin lines that, and it doesn't matter if you cover up all of the stuff, and you certainly don't want them to be uniform. That's like stripes, pinstripes, and that's not what fur is. Fur is just kind of like these things that go back and forth. You can make it look matted, you can make it look combed. Make sure that I'm on stream. But the most important thing is follow the direction that this stuff is going. If you want me, I could do some stuff over Discord when you get it. Yeah, I might. There's a lot of people that have done airbrush. I know Orc has done airbrushing. YGM Monologuing has done airbrushing that offered some helpful tips and tricks. So I'll be looking for a lot of that information. So yeah, I will keep you in mind when I get it. But I don't know if you know what the Vivo Home brand does or is all about, but that's what I got. It was a Cyber Monday discount, so that's what I did. I just went and got that. All right. once you sufficiently have done all that, we're going to go in with our other brush and we're going to add a little bit more ivory to this. You want a noticeable difference, but you don't want too much of a difference. See, that's a little too much of a difference, so we'll bring in some of that. I'll bring in a little bit more black here. There we go. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. No clue? Yeah. So we're going to do the same thing, and you do not have to follow. You do not have to follow what you did before. The whole purpose of this is to break up the open area so that you have... So I can do this as... But you want to be thinner. Each time you add some ivory, you have to be a little thinner in your lines. So you have just that little bit of a touch. But you can't really make a mistake because the hair can do different things. And notice I'm not using a magnifier for this, so because it's more natural if it does its own thing. You're still going to keep, the idea is to still keep where you think the highlight is going to be. So I think light will hit this area on the top, so I'll kind of bring this out a little bit more. In fact, this isn't going to be my final highlight up here, so I can do as many of these as I want. I think I'm going to bring these down a little bit. Oops. If your paint is too thick, you're going to end up doing what I did, which is sort of like a dry brush, and you don't want that. There we go. So I'll bring these down just a bit. And we'll bring this over here. And I would even say that down here would catch a little bit of the light. So we'll just kind of do this. Bring that down. So like right under here, I know this is under the arm. Maybe this is the highest highlight that I'm gonna go back here. Right, so you just have to kind of figure out where you would be highlighting on your miniature, and then just add those in. See, I can add this in a little bit, and you don't even know that I put anything there. And we'll do the same thing over here. Oops. And we're just looking to see if there's any other places. Once I'll have to take him off the base. He's only like, he's not even stuck to the base with glue. He's stuck with a clear piece of double-sided tape, and I did that so that I have a regular base to paint him on. But did I just touch something I wasn't supposed to? No. But once I take him off the base, I can get at the bottom of him easier. But I will say this, that for a STL, if you don't do the resized one, but you do the actual one that is pre-supported, It's pretty spot on. I like didn't have to mess around with anything. The resize one doesn't have supports, so whatever I did didn't work. So I'm sticking with just the regular I'm just sticking with the regular 3D print. So just making sure that I get some separation in all of this stuff. There we go. All right. The shorter the hairs, the better it'll look. We're actually just trying to get this to almost look done. I don't know if we'll get this completely done, but from the front he looks all right. We have some nose stuff there that we have to do. So with the nose stuff, since that's going to be in the lighted area, I will take this gray and I'm going to actually just paint this with this light gray, and then I'll go in with some lighter ivories and brighter stuff. But there we go. So that up there is going to be part of the fur. Okay. Let's get my ivory going. I'm going to punch this up a little bit. So we're going to add a little bit more ivory to this color. Add a little bit of white. And the other thing I'm going to do to warm up this is add a little bit of yellow. And this isn't going to be a lot of yellow. This is just to warm up this gray because it's starting to get a little cooler. So I'm just going to add not like, you know, that much yellow. You can tell it changes the whole tint of that, and then I'll keep going with the ivory. See, that's kind of where we want to go with this, right? We want the fur to be nice and warm, make it look soft. There we go. We like that. We'll add a little bit of water to that to mix it all up, keep it nice and hydrated so I can do my lines. And because we added some more ivory, we have to do smaller areas. And what I mean by smaller areas, I don't mean smaller hairs, but I may not go all the way underneath. See, I might just kind of do this part of the fur. Keeping that dark underneath, but just hitting places that I think the light might actually hit. And notice that I'm not following what I did before, but what I am doing is following the direction of the hair. So because the hair keeps flowing down like this, I'm just going to keep doing this. And if you want, you can get some stray hairs going one way or another. Maybe he didn't comb his back that day. Not sure. But you can start to see now it's a little bit furrier. Now this over here, this does have a little edge here, a little curve. So maybe I just kind of stay in that area and let the hairs underneath be darker. Maybe this part gets the light. We'll do the same thing over here. And this is all this is. I mean, The trick to hair is that you're just following the direction that the hair is supposed to go. And I'm going to take some of this color here, and I'm just going to kind of bring out some of... This looks a little too dark up here, so I'm just going to kind of bring that back a little bit. There we go. Again, this piece is all smooth, but now we've added some texture in there. And it's taken us 4, whoops, that's not his fur, that's a strap that I'll have to paint. But now you can start to kind of see and this is sort of adding personality, right? I could have easily just painted this all ivory and called it a giant white rat that lost all its fur. And if I decide to 3D print this again, maybe that's what I'll do. But for this particular guy, it looks like I did a lot of work, but it's just sort of time consuming, and once you get it all done, it will look pretty cool. It's the same thing with non-metallic metal, it's the same thing with OSL. Just gotta wait until it's finally done before you get to kind of see what's going on. And then I think I have to do over here. And I could easily sit here all day and just do this. This could be a whole 3-hour stream, but I'm not going to make it that because we have some other parts that we have to paint on here. But we can always come back and do more fur, right? So I'm not going to do under the arm, but I will do anything that's kind of exposed. Let's see, why is my camera so far off? There we go. Just follow that fur. See, I haven't done anything down here, which I'll have to work on. Whether that's on stream or not, we'll see. All right, there we go. I will do one more and then we'll get into some other colors. I'm gonna add a little bit more ivory to this. Don't want to make it super bright, but we do want to stay with that ivory. I shouldn't have used that brush, but I did now. So twirl, twirl, twirl. Get that point where you need it to be. There go. And so this is a brighter color, so you're going to just pick out like all those high areas, just like you would with regular hair. So find where your highlight is. And just stay in that little area that you would normally highlight, just making these little hairs. Oops. And again, if you mess up like I did there, I put too much hair there, you can always bring that back with some of your other darker color. And I think all over here would be sort of where I want this highlight. This looks like a good place for a highlight color. Just ask yourself, would I edge highlight there or would I not edge highlight right there? And that will dictate whether you put in your lighter hairs. Maybe you have a fur cloak that you want to do this method on, or maybe you have a cloak that you want to make fur, right? Because this only really works if you have open space to work with. You're kind of giving it that little texture. If you already have texture on your piece, then you kind of have, it's already dictated what you do. But you might be able to throw in a couple extra hairs here and there. Get rid of that. Didn't want that on there. That's me being lazy and trying to manipulate the brush in a place that it won't go to. You don't want to do that. Rotate the miniature so you can always paint comfortably. I think I would put a highlight right there. And I would put some highlight there. And we haven't gone to the final ivory yet, so it's probably not going to look as bright as we did in the front, right? And I haven't done anything back here, so I'll have to build that up. All right. So with that said, let's do some other stuff, and we'll get back to that guy. I will, however, take some of this. I'm gonna just kind of darken this up a little bit, and I'm gonna do a little bit of his nose. Now his nose comes at me, so that's what I'm gonna do. Just to give him a little bit of some hair on his nose. And we'll do the other color as well. There we go. Now he has some hair on his nose that we'll bring up down the road. All right. So I need to get some of these straps going, so I'm going to take some actual mahogany and we'll get a new brush. I don't want to use the hair brush because I like the point on that, so we'll go to a different brush that I can get a good point on using my little handy dandy device. Just there's nothing on it. I'm not rinsing it off. I'm just trying to get that point back. Go right into the mahogany from Procryl. And that looks right about, let's see, this right here. All right. So it looks like I have to paint this nice dark brown. There we go. Then we have to do it on this side as well. So there's very little brown here. Okay. And let's see. Let's do this. Trying not to hit too much of the fur. I can already see some blank spots that I haven't done fur on yet. Okay. Let's see. And then I think we also have a strap down here on the leg. So let's do that. Oops. Off camera. We don't want to be off camera. I want to be able to show off what I'm doing. I have to get better about that if we're going to do more of these paint alongs. And if these paint alongs aren't something you would like to do, then I'm sure I can find something else to paint. I mean, I was going to paint these anyway, but I always like supporting those people in the hobby that do other things other than just paint miniatures. There we go. All right. Let's see, what else do I need to do here for the brown? I don't think there's too much else. Okay. This is fun. Oh, cool. I'm glad this is fun. I enjoy this. All right. We're going to go to a black. Now, this is just black primer. But to do my black leather, I'm actually going to start with some dark gray. Now, I could get dark gray. They make a dark gray, but we'll stick with mixing some colors. And I usually do about a 4 black to 1 white gray. So, oops. So I do about a 4 to 1. It's still it's super dark gray, but I always like to have that super dark gray because then I have a place to go when I want to shade it. So we're just going to go in here, and because it's going over a black primer, it's going to even get darker. So I always tend to kind of base my black on a 4 to 1 black to white mixture. Now you can get a dark gray from other places, but usually the dark grays are still gray. They're still too gray for me. So I always have to add black to it. Although I will say Corvus Black from Citadel is probably the closest that I get to the gray that I use for my blacks. So if you get Corvus Gray, then you kind of understand where I get my gray from. And I'm also doing this by cleaning up any stray furs that might have gone to the belt. So like I said, Citadel makes some good colors that I enjoy. They just need a better mechanism for their paints. And I know why they don't do it, but that tells me that you don't care about the hobby part of things. And so I will buy Corvus Black, but I buy it in air color, so I don't have to keep buying Corvus Black. And I also, for Monument Hobbies, got some of these bottles, so I can actually fit my Corvus Black in. These actually are 22 milliliters. I don't remember. Yeah, these are 22 milliliters. I don't remember what the air paints are from Citadel, but I think the other ones, I think the small ones are 12, if I'm not mistaken. I thought it was an almost double ratio, but I could be wrong. All right. So we got a nice little acrylic layer of my dark gray on there. So we'll let that dry just a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do is take some of this wilderness green. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it. And I'm going to try to get into those shadows a little bit more. So using a little bit of my crag blue and wilderness green, I'm just going to kind of mix all that up. It should darken my green down a little bit more. If not, you can always add a little bit of black, but you don't want to add too much blue because then it'll turn it blue-green on you, and you don't want that. And I want to do this kind of fairly thin. And see how this works in the shadows. So I'm just trying to get into the shadows here. And remember, we said nothing was going to hit back here, so I can get this nice and dark. Just to kind of subdue a little bit of that highlight that we got going there. You can always bring that highlight back. But not only does this kind of add a little bit of darkness, but it gives it that different contrast of like cool. It's a cooler shadow with a nice warmer, a warmer highlight, right? So that shadow is going to make that green a little bit warmer against all of the cool colors we have. So this white is a cool color. These browns are neutral and they keep the warmth going. We have some warm in the ivory, but this this metallic is colder. This belt is going to be colder. So you have some warm and you have some cold, which is what you want you want to have that kind of contrast going. So I'll add a little bit of yellow. I'll add a little bit of ivory and a little bit of white. Make a nice bright yellow. Keep it on the warmer side. And I'll take a little bit more of that wilderness green, and we'll create the highlight color a little bit. So I'm just gonna mix all this together. Get a little more ivory in there. Really punch that yellow out of there, but we still want the yellow in for the green because that's what warms it up. Take some of this green. Take some of this ivory, and I just keep rinsing out the brush because I don't want to contaminate this. And you can see how that just kind of comes back out to a nice bright color. And then I can get some of this highlight back in. A little edge highlighting going on here. And so again, where his leg hits, it might be just a little bit more highlighted there around his leg. And the warmth of this highlight with the cool of the shadow will make a little bit more of a contrasty area in nature. I don't want to go too bright, but I do want to bring out the definition a little bit in this let's come back to my shade here. And I'm going to frame this highlight just a little bit more. Frame this highlight. Frame this. There we go. I like that. That looks good. I mean, I could play with this all day to get it to where I want it to be, but for a game piece, it's pretty good, right? Because really, it's this part that I want to be, this is the area that people look in on, so this is what you want to see. But you also kind of want to keep this little area looking all right. If I turn it here, probably want to keep this area looking all right. So it's just a matter of keep turning it, find out where life is looking good. We are going to take the Turbo Dork silicone thing, and this is what I'm going to use my silver in. And then we got to get another brush because we don't want to keep using, and I have a separate thing of water for my metallics. So I'm just using regular metallic paint. That's the dark silver from Monument Hobbies, and then we have the bright silver here from Reaper. Whoops, that's not bright silver, that's medium. Because I think Reaper's metals, I don't know about all of their metals, but it seems like they like to separate pretty quickly. Grab paper towel, clean the nozzle off. All right. And we'll take a nice big brush here. This looks like a good brush. We'll take this and stick it in here. Stick 2 of those in there. And we'll stick 1 of these dark ones just to kind of get a mid-tone. And with metallics, I've noticed that it's either super bright or super dark. So you have to kind of, depending on the metal that you want, you have to get, you have to use 2 of one and 1 of the other. So in this case, to get a nice medium silver, I needed 2 of these bright ones to one of the dark ones. And I use this dark silver really quick, just to make this buckle. And I'm also going to make this buckle here, very advanced buckle for a rat. Maybe he stole it from somewhere. Okay. Now, that doesn't look like I did anything, but trust me, I did. Because now I'm going to go in with this, this is what I want. So I'm going to go in with the second silver. And we're going to just kind of edge over what we just did. So I'm not actually using this over black, but it actually creates a little bit of shadow, a metallic shadow, with the other, like, so I can do it in the front here, right? But then off in the back, I have that. I still have the metallic, but I don't have to do anything back there. As long as this is nice and highlighted here, I can go there. There we go. Now I can go into this nice bright silver and dot the corners. So I will dot this and this. These are the latches for the buckle. And then I can go in and dot, whoops, it's too much of a dot. I can go in and dot the top corner here, top corner here. And I could, so that takes care of that. Here I will actually dot and come down. So I'll dot the whole top edge and then we'll bring it down just a little bit. Okay. So that takes care of the belt part of it. So what I'm going to do now is take that gray that I started with and I'm going to add white to it, because I want it a little bit cooler. I want this to be sort of a harder surface. So we're just going to add a little bit of white to that. That might have been too much white. Give me one sec while I tone that down just a little bit. So you don't want it, you don't want it to go up really quick. This is a black belt, so you want to keep it sort of the highlights minimal. So what I want to do here is kind of just hit this edge, top edge right here. And around here a little bit. And just kind of edge highlight right here using this tip of the brush because it seems to be a little bit harder of an edge. And I will also come down a little bit. I mean, to have a harder leather, it will shine more, but you don't want to go right to a bright gray. You want to have a little bit of transition, because it's not going to be a reflective surface. Just going all the way around. Because this won't be the final highlight. It might be the final highlight back here, but it shouldn't be the final highlight where you want the light to come from. And then I'm also going to do just over here next to that, just a little bit of ways from that buckle, but I'm going to just kind of touch it off there so that there is this black line where the buckle is, ever so slightly. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of ivory to this mixture and a little bit more white. You want it to be still gray, a little bit of water to mix everything up. You want this paint to be kind of loose, because all you want to do is hit some small edge highlights. So I'll get my point back, and I kind of want to stay on the top. And I also want to do these sides right here. Gonna do the top of that to give it a little bit of separation. And I don't have to go too far under him. I will, however, go a little bit over here. This seems to be exposed. All right. So there's my belt. Now we're not done with the belt, because I'm going to take that same gray. We're going to thin it way down. going to be sort of like a glaze. And then I kind of want to make a little reflection using lines somewhere on the belt. So we'll do that there. I definitely want to put one over here. So I'm just going to kind of do the same thing I did. This is a very thin glaze paint that I'm going over. Now I'm going to do the corners on this, so it gives it sort of that rounded area. All it really does is it just kind of, like when you look at this, like I can see where the light is hitting here. And so I'm just very subtly just making this a little shine. So you want to keep this nice and moist as a glaze and just kind of keep hitting it in line. Because a leather belt, a hard leather belt will have a shine. It won't have a big shine. You don't have to go white. But I'm doing it like this because eventually we're going to kind of glaze this back down with a black. But you want that shine there. I'm just going to glaze over this one more time. Make sure I have a nice light color there. Do these four corners. Do this guy here. Do this again. There we go. And we just have to wait for that to dry, and then we'll get that to look a little bit, whoops. All right. I'm going to take some of this yellow ochre, take some of this ivory, 2 ivories. I don't remember what we did last time. It looked like it was 2 ivories and a yellow ochre. I'm just going to go in and kind of clean up my areas here, but I'm going to bring this back to a very pale yellow. Kind of like this. Then I want to just kind of clean it up back here a little bit. So when I look at it, I want it to be almost an ivory bandage, but I don't want it to be, like you can see that the darkness going underneath, which is kind of what I want. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I think right about here is where I want this nice bright color. So if I look at it that way, and then I will bring this back just a little bit. Okay. Just trying to figure out where the light comes from. Yep, that's good. Light's coming from here, so I want to get at least this much in. Whoops. We can fix that. All right. All right, with the mahogany, I'm going to go right in with the burnt sienna and yellow ochre. So we're going to take some mahogany that we used for the straps, add a little bit of burnt sienna to that, like a 50-50 mix right there, and a little bit of yellow ochre. And this lighter color is what I'm going to actually go on the middle of these straps. Keeping that dark area next to the skin, because that will become part of my dark lining. So if you just kind of keep that highlight color in the middle as close as you can to the edge, you don't have to get in there with black liner and mess up anything. So I'm just kind of putting it on there. So here, just trying to stay away from the fur, but also keep that black line, or that dark mahogany line, I should say. It's not black. Sometimes I have to put the miniature in a place where you can't see what I'm doing. I feel really bad about that. All right. There we go. Now, because you've added burnt sienna and yellow ochre to this mixture, you can actually use any one of those two colors to edge highlight. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more burnt sienna to this. I'm going to add some ivory to it. And I'm going to use that to edge highlight. So let's go to my lining brush. Get a nice point on. This is what we're doing the hairs with. See, there's... Oh, you can't see. There's my hairbrush. Let's do this. And we'll take this color and I'll show you that as long as you keep using the same colors and just add little bits here and there, it's not going to look bad. So I'm just going to do a little edge highlighting on these straps. Whoops. Miniature slipped. So we'll have to fix that up. I'll wait for that to dry to fix up. Let's see. And where do I put this edge highlight? Right next to where that dark is, because dark and light is a contrast. Ah. Oh good, that was just water. Thought I put my hand in paint. Now I could have added white to this to make it a little bit harder as a strap, but I chose to add ivory because of the yellowness of the brown. There's nothing wrong with adding ivory, or excuse me, white. And then you can just kind of wall that off next to the metallic pieces. See, I'll just kind of wall that off next to the metallic piece. Next to the metallic piece, wall it off. Same thing here, I'll wall that off, even though I have to fix it. Not that you can see those straps really. You can see it in the front here, right here. So if you have some belts, you can do that. I'm actually going to take some of this. I'm going to take some of this burnt sienna because I messed something up over here, so I have to fix it. And I think we use burnt sienna for this. I keep changing the angle of this camera because, all right, you know what? I bet you it's because I'm zoomed in too far. I have a feeling that's what my problem is. I had to zoom in on my, on the pirate captain, so let me zoom back out. I'm gonna zoom out to 325. See if we can't make that stick a little bit better. How's that? There we go. That looks a little bit better. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to an uncomfortable highlight. I'm going to actually go into my white here. This is for the belt. I'm going to actually come with a brighter gray. And I'm just going to kind of hit the front of this where I have this this highlight, or this anywhere where I went down is where I'm going to put this little highlight. So right here, and I'm only going to stay on the top. So like right here, my highlight goes here, so it's almost as if this was going to be non-metallic metal, but I'm just going to kind of get that to be right about there. So I don't know if you can see that little line there, but that's what I'm doing. trying to create a little bit more of a, whoops. Come on. My gray does not want to, okay. So we're just gonna do the top area here. And then we're gonna come down. Okay. Top area here, come down. Top area here, come down. Come down. Okay. So we have that. That's what our thing. Now I'm going to go in and glaze down with the black. So let's get a glazing brush and soak that together. Let's get out our glazing cheat sheet. There it is. And let's thin down some black. Now I know what you're saying. How do I make black a highlight color? Well, it can be done. So I've almost covered up the highlighter words, so it's not thin enough. So we'll keep doing some water here. No, not yet. You can thin it down. See? That's more of a highlighter color than that one is, or that one. So you can only read like. Highlighter you can read, but here I can highlighter with this, and you can read that much nicer. So now that you have that consistency, go ahead and we touch our paper towel to get the point back. A lot of water in there, so it takes a little bit. And the side of your brush, find an angle where you're not going to hit things with, and just kind of paint over what you just did. It will soften everything down. And I know Nuln Oil makes a gloss, so you could add a gloss to your belt. And I'm filtering a glaze here. I'm not blending a glaze. This isn't a blend. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of subduing a lot of the highlights that we put in there. So you always bring your highlights to an uncomfortable amount of brightness, and then we tone it back down. It may need a lot more glazes to do that with. But this is a great way. This is how I do a lot of my red tones, because I don't want the orange and I don't want the pink. So if I always feel like if I bring it up to an uncomfortable pink or white level or orange level, I can filter it back down with the red. My highlights still stay there, but they're subdued. And that's what you really want for black armor. You want subtle highlights. I might have went too bright with the gray. Let's see if we can bring that black back in. It shines because it's still wet, so I have to wait for it. I'll do one more pass over it. Again, all I'm doing is just painting with the glaze. It's not going all over the place because I touched the paper towel to get the point back and got rid of the moisture. So what's hitting the brush is the bristles, not the water, not the medium. All right, here we go. Now he's got a belt. He's got the belt that I'm happy with. All right. We are going to go and do a little bit of edge highlighting. So we're going to grab a brush. We're going to put a nice point on that brush with my little handy dandy new tool that I made. And go into the white. I'm going to go into the very bright silver. And I'm just going to start adding some edge highlights that I was supposed to add over the holiday break, but never did. And when you're doing true metallic metal or non-metallic metal, you have to edge highlight all those pieces. It doesn't have to be all with the same brightness, but all metal gets highlighted, edge highlighted at some point. That's what I learned at Reaper. So that's what we're going to do. And if I think it's too bright, we can always scale it back. You know what? I think I need some medium in this. I'm gonna grab some metal medium, which is just kind of glazed medium. I don't use water. Oh, dang it. That might be too much medium. Let's get a brush here. Because I think this metallic is drying out on me. Hey, Booking Kitties, how's it going? Thought you were going on streaming vacation. I am after tonight. All right, let's see if I can get this to work as a nice edge highlight. This might be too thin. Using the side of the brush. Somehow I just don't think it's showing up that well. I don't know. Can you see those edge highlights? I'm having a hard time seeing them. I am going on a streaming vacation. I'm gonna add, yeah, this is all starting to dry. I'm gonna add a little bit of this to this. Shouldn't be mixing with this brush. All right, let's see. Let's see if this actually works. No. Trying to figure out why. Maybe it's just not mixed enough. Let's try this again. Oh, I know why it's not. I'm an idiot. Sorry, guys. The reason why it's not showing up is because I don't have the dark next to it, so it's not gonna show up. You gotta have dark against light. So I just have to trust that I'm actually edge highlighting, because it's so hard to edge highlight with silver because the light gets in the way. I found out every other Thursday might be a 1 hour department meeting, and I'm displeased. Ooh, they made the in-office people come to a conference room. I could be snacking. I could have been snacking. Most people are working from home, so like, seriously? Or are y'all getting stuff done while listening or something? I'll tell you, you know, for the longest time, working from home really got to me. I'm gonna actually put more polished silver in. I think it's too thin. I don't know what the issue is with this so far, but I have a feeling that things are starting to settle, and it's very possible I added too much medium, so let's mix that lead around, because this middle silver is already dried up. So obviously I'm getting very there's like something sucking out the moisture down here. All right, let's try this. It's just a subtle highlight. Well, that stinks, bookend kitties. But at least it's not every Friday or every other Friday. At least Thursday, you still have one more day to go. All right, this is a much better consistency. I think I thinned it way up too much. But I'm just going in and edge highlighting. I'm not going to do all the edge highlighting tonight. There's other things that we want to do. But like I said, I didn't do my homework over the holidays, so I was supposed to edge highlight this for you guys, and I never did. But that's all right. You can always check out what it looks like on Instagram when I post it, because I will post this for Kawna Minis. Get some bounce light. It's kind of working. On the upside down, we got hot chocolate and cookies for the month. Or on the upside. Sorry, not upside down. On the upside. I suspect they made us all show up for what they could enforce watching the meeting. So that they can enforce watching the meeting. In and out of the office. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I used to struggle with working from home, but now I get to listen to things that I want to listen to, and I'm more effective. It was just more or less, it was tough because there was nobody around, and I sort of need that background noise. All right. We're going to take some of this dark gray, and I see some fur that could get done, so I'm just going to fix that up. You guys probably were a lot cleaner when you did this, if you're actually doing this, but there we go. Some water, reconstitute this. There we go. And we'll get some fur on there when we can. All right. All right, so it's 10:50 on my end. See, podcasts and Twitch group work can be a godsend. I'm going to try working in a coffee shop this weekend instead of going into the office where it's dark and quiet and creepy. Ooh, yeah. Don't do that. Don't do dark and creepy. Not a fan. Yeah, like we know you were there and not working or something. Like we know you were there and not working on something else. Epic Duck is good for work along. And half the lights keep turning off. I sit in the weirdest zone. Oh, so you got the Resident Evil lighting going on? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use actually some different liners. I'm going to use a brown liner. If I have my brown liner. I think my brown liner might be where my other paints are. But I'm also going to use a black liner. Actually, I'm going to use transparent black. Do I want to use transparent black? Let me think about this. If I use transparent black, it's going to be shinier. So I'm going to use the transparent black on the metal pieces just to show you what it does, and then I'll go get my gray liner, and I'll go get my brown liner from Reaper. But you can do this by you can use contrast paint. In fact, I could probably use contrast paint instead. But what I'm going to do is, you're not going to see this. You're not going to see this in the black. But there is some transparent black there. And so it's sort of like an ink. So what you want is high pigment and high viscosity. And I'm going to go to my lining brush. So you want a lining brush. Something that's very thin. And I'm going to add a little bit of medium to this, even though I don't need to. Okay. Mix this around. Because you want it thin. You don't want it to be, it's already thin. You don't want it to be a wash. So this is from Monument Hobbies. Now I could do this with the black paint as well. But as you do this, you want to be able to, well, I'll just show you. You want to be able to write with it. Usually I try to write the letter B because it's got curves to it. Right? That's kind of what you're looking for, is B's. I can make a triangle with it. Can make 2 triangles with it. Right? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to write with this. And once you do that, then you know how the paint is going to activate or react. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stick to anything that has a deep ridge to it. This has a deep ridge. And I'm just going to paint with a tip right in there. And that will add some definition. Now with the inks and these transparent paints, they sort of leave a little glossy finish. Even the contrast paints will leave a glossy finish. So I try not to do a lot of edge lining with that stuff unless it's going to be a shiny surface. So if I wanted to, I could do this on armor. I could do this on a shiny hard surface. Like I could do this on a belt. I'll show you where I would do this on the belt. But you certainly don't want to do it in a place that's going to cause glossy finish if it's not going to be a glossy finish. But right in here where I have this metallic, I will actually go ahead and edge next to that. This is called dark lining, and you do this on any surface that meets another surface. It kind of cleans the miniature. We've done this over and over. And it will make life pretty great. If you like, see it over here where this belt meets the metallic, just by putting in a little bit of liner there, it separates those pieces out. I would encourage everybody to try this at least once. It will redefine your miniatures. I learned this my first time at Reapercon. I wish I had known about this early on. And so now I take this to the bank with me. And anytime you watch other streamers and they start doing this, now you know why they start doing it. It does add a very clean, crisp look to the miniature. But you gotta be careful. It is very hard to get the right balance, but okay, so that's that. Now I'm not going to do it against the fur, and I'm not going to do it against the tail. For that, I can either use a red liner, which is right here, and that's not even remotely shaken up. I wish those came in gray for a better value judgment. I wish this came... What do you mean gray? We can see Super Void in one of those wells. Oh, you can see... Yep, there you go. They're motion activated. I'm not close to the sensors. Oh, okay. The little well palette. Oh, yeah. I like the black ones for metallics, and then I did get the white one, but the problem with the inks is that they stain it, so I don't like doing the inks in the white one. But I have a gray one coming, so I have to walk back and forth to the light, trying to get the lights back on. I remember those days. I wonder why that's doing that. Hold on one sec. Let me grab a pokey tool. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Let's thin this out a little bit. This is my red. I think it's more of a purpley color. But for the tail, this little red liner, I can go around the base of this. Just stay close to where you want that. I did not stay close on that at all. Let's see if I can do the bigger one. The reason I'm doing red liner on here is because it's a pink tail. I don't have to. I can do black because the metal is gray. But I chose to do the red because of the tail. I'll have to clean up some of that tail. I think my edge lining is just a little too big for this. Yeah, this is a much better lining right there. You want, the thinner you get it, the better off you are. But I could do this with thinning down a red. I could do this with thinning down a purple. The deep red is what I would use because that's what you made the pink with. But as you do it, like the tail starts to pop out of the metallic stuff, and it's not so muddy. And then I can do it around, see, I tried to do it around the tail here, but I will do a little bit more around the tail, where the fur meets the tail. But you can see how that kind of just cleans up around all of that area. All right, So there's that. Let me go get my brown liner. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use a sepia liner, because the sepia liner, just put a little bit there. The sepia liner is what I'll use around the bandages. So where the fur meets the bandages, I'll just go ahead and use this sepia. So again, it's just, you could do all of this with black. I could just use a black liner to do all of what I'm doing, and it will look just as good. The issue is sometimes just black makes it more animated or cartoony, and so I like to go with colors that kind of enhance what's around it. And so I'll use the sepia liner to enhance a little bit of this dirty bandage. But I could use black because of the gray around the fur, right? So you could start to see how that kind of filters in. I could do a black liner around the belt, or even a green line. So I'll probably end up doing black because I can go on top and bottom with the black. But with this sepia liner, I can go right next to the fur. Whoops. Again, you want to be as thin as possible with this. I'm not doing a very good job being very thin with it. And sometimes if you're not paying attention, that's what happens. And I will also do brown sepia around, and I could use a dark brown to do it as well, but I'll use a dark sepia around the ropes. So just kind of, and it doesn't need to be seen, it just needs to be clean. So by doing this, you clean up the miniature where you painted it. And I didn't do anything with the bottom rope, so I'll have to worry about that down the road. But what it really does is it just frames everything so that it looks nice and clean and crisp. And that's kind of what you have to do if you ever decide to do competitions. Make sure you're doing some clean work. Breakfast is a good self-bribe, right? It certainly is. Treat yourself to breakfast today. The little well palette. So I have to walk back. Oh, whoops, sorry, I read that. Figure Saturday I'll get up and I'll head to the coffee shop nearest the Reaper work for a bit, and then Reaper Paint Club and my little robot freebie I picked up at Reapercon. Robot freebie. What robot was that? I don't know if I remember the robot freebie. I'm gonna go back to my leather band. I'm gonna add a little bit more ivory into this. That's too much ivory. I'm gonna add a little bit more ivory to this. Mix that all around, get some water, mix that around, really blend that in. And just kind of where I can see it, so like in the front of him, I'm just gonna kind of hit a little bit of these edges with this lighter color. I don't want to go too much with it. And then right back here, I'll hit this, come down a little bit, and hit that. And then I don't think there's any other straps, so I will do it back here. Actually, I think I forgot about that strap. I'll have to touch that up. Oh, this one I want to do. So these are just like little... I'm not doing the whole thing, I'm just doing it where the light is going to hit. So, kind of cleans it up, gives me a little brighter area, so when I do the sepia or the brown lining, they get seen. All right, let's get back to the fur. I think this guy, I've shown you everything that we were gonna do with him. What I can do is take some of this black, thin it down. I don't have to make a glaze of it. I'll show you what the gray liner does. Gray liner is black to line gray stuff, but I will line around the metallic piece here, because that's kind of what separates the fur from the metallic, and that's kind of what you want to be doing on this. So I'm just going to separate it like so. So see how that just kind of adds, it frames in that metallic work that we did. So like right here where the metal meets the fur, just going to kind of, oops. Just kind of want to get around that area. And we'll clean that up with some fur. We know how to do that. That wasn't a, by the way, this is not a liner. This is me trying to thin down paint. And you can see if you don't thin it out enough, then you can't do this black lining with it. You're just painting on black. So you gotta make sure that that black is pretty thin. And then I'm gonna actually go, you know what? I'm gonna use the red liner to go around the nose. The nose has again, I could thin down the blood red. I decided to go cheap and use actual liners. But you can start to see when you start using liners or you start darkening areas around different surfaces, how it just kind of takes on a whole brand new look. Like you can't see that gray around his ear that we did. So, but if I take this red liner and I actually go around the hair, that separates it. Now you can start to see where we're going to do some fur on that hair. You can also add a little bit of liner in here to deepen the ear well. Not only that, but we can take this, whoops, I keep moving to a different place. I can take this red and I can actually go into where this pink meets the fur. And make the ears stand out even more. So all this is doing is just framing different parts of the miniature to give you an idea of what it looks like. You see how that ear kind of just takes on the shape. I'm only doing it where the pink is meeting the fur. I'm not lining everything. So like right up here, and I try to keep that line with the deep red, but you're not coming up in the raid list. You have been naughty. I have been naughty. I raid out and then I see you in my follow channels listed afterward. Oh, I've been on for a few hours. Where the metal meets the fur is like where the rubber meets the road. That's right. There's a fine line between where that rubber and that road meet because you have a rubber surface and you have a pavement. But you can see how I'm starting to frame out the face and it's starting to kind of show a little bit more. I'm going to actually take some I'm going to take some deep red. We're going to make a little tongue. I don't know what tongue color is out there for a rat, but I imagine that we'll start off deep red and I almost want to say it's like a gray tongue. It could be a pink tongue though. But we're gonna go in here really quick. Do a little bit of mouth maneuver. Give this guy somewhat of a mouth. So that's my deep red. That's in the mouth right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of black, ivory, more ivory, white. All right, I'm starting to contaminate my wells now. That's not good. All right. White, ivory, get a nice bright gray going on, add a little bit of red to that. All right, and we're going to highlight with this nice red, gray, pink gray. That looks like a good color. All right. We're just playing, we're mixing. And I'm not going to do in the middle of the tongue. I did the whole thing red in there. I'm just gonna stick to the outside, kind of like right here. And we'll do the same on this side. And that kind of makes it a little different than the lips. We want the lips to be the pink. We want this to be like a little pinky gray. So there's the tongue in there. Well, I'm sorry that didn't come up on your raid list. That wasn't my intention. We're gonna take some ivory. We're gonna take some yellow ochre and mix all that together with just a touch of burnt sienna. And we're gonna use this to define the teeth. So I see some teeth right here. Give it some nice yellowness to it. And right here. And then what we're going to do is we'll just add a little bit of ivory to these teeth. We don't want to make them clean teeth. We want them to be sort of dirty. And this I might need the little binoculars for, but I'm gonna get a whole mess of ivory here, mix that in. Nice point on the brush. And you can do this two different ways. You can try to make the two lines in the teeth, as I'm trying to do, or you can just do the tops of the teeth. I'm going to try to do the two sides. And it's not going to be able to be seen, so we're going to go right to ivory, and we're going to do it a little bit more with the ivory. Right at the tips. It's always about the tips. Of course, I can't seem. I probably should have my binoculars on for this. And then I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna all by its lonesome. Remember, we added a little bit of burnt sienna to that. And I'm going to try to make a little line in the middle, just to reinforce that he has two teeth, top and bottom. It's a little tricky. This one's going to be trickier because I can't get at it. And I have it on the wrong base. So almost got it. Hopefully you can see two teeth there. I'm gonna try this one more time. you don't have the dark and the light next to each other, it's hard to see things. There we go. I think that might be an imperfection in my print. All right. I don't know, can you see those two teeth? He's got the eyes, he's got the little tongue in there. All right. All right, so we haven't totally finished him off. I kind of wanted to, but the thing that I wanted to show you is that I'm going to actually go to pure ivory and white. We haven't really done that. So I'm just going to mix this as like a 50-50 mixture. And this is where I'm going to start making him look like his hands. So you kind of just do these hairs coming around. Right, so he'll start looking a little bit more. This might be too stark of a contrast right here, but I'll just go ahead and start adding some hairs along here. Just kind of the way we've been doing it. Just like these little short hairs. Nothing very thick. It will add some texture to it. And you want to keep going the same direction as the fur is going to go. So like the fur starts to come down here. Again, this is all open space. I put in all of this fur, but it looks like it was textured that way because it follows through. Himmy name is Scott. Why name is Scott. Hello, how are you doing, sir? What are you up to? First time chatter, welcome in. So I'm gonna do the face with this nice bright white gray. Just to show you. It's just little tiny hairs. With a liner brush, you're only using the tip of the brush. And I'm just kind of going through, just trying to follow the way the miniature goes. I don't have a lot of this mixed up, but again, where the highlight is, that's kind of where you want to focus your white on, or your ivory, I should say. So if you would have normally highlighted it here, then that's where you would do these light hairs. And eventually it'll become, hi, my name is Scott. Not much, just browsing Twitch. Well, welcome for the browse. Thank you so much for stopping in. I'm unfortunately not going to be streaming in December, but you will see me around Twitch if you're in other channels. I can give you some great people to watch if you're a miniature painter. And if you're just a hobbyist or a game player, then there's a few people that do that sort of stuff. So I'm just kind of picking out things that would be highlighted normally. Again, this was all open space to start off with. Over the period of, I don't know how many streams we've been adding to our fur cause. But we have never really done the full highlighted miniature, getting up to the white part or the light ivory part. but hopefully it's starting to take on the color that we're looking for. So just with the tip of the brush, you just kind of flick and hit. And I'm just trying to stay where I think light is going to catch the most. So like right here on this leg, there might be some light. Right there. Using my makeshift tool to get my point back. You need to have a point. That's how we do the fine details on here. So maybe back here I just go plain ivory. Maybe you just want to do some plain ivory back here, so you just kind of because this isn't where light is going to hit the most, but you can get some bounce light somewhere. And again, you can always see that's a big long line there. I'll have to break that up with some grays and stuff. But you can't really go wrong with doing fur. You just have to kind of know where do you want the light fur. Don't make it too thick. Like right here maybe is where I kind of want to stop my highlights. Right up here. So I don't think it came out bad. There's still a lot more to do with it. But I think we have everything painted now. We have the face painted. We have the belt painted. Oh, I gotta do some fur up here. And then I have to do some fur right about here. And we need some fur right up here. So as I said, I still have to do this rope down here to match the rope that's up there. I have to take this off the sticky base. I have to finish the tail underneath, even though that it's black. It still needs to be painted a darker color. I have to do some blending on the tail here that I didn't get to do. So yeah, there's all of that stuff. And then I just have to clean up the lining. So I think I'm gonna get my brown liner and do a couple things. Give me 1 second. So, hi, my name is Scott. Oh. I don't remember what number the brown liner was. Are you a miniature painter, or are you a game player? Do you just play the tabletop games, D&D person? What brings you into this neck of the woods of Twitch? I mostly painted. Oh, sweet. Well, you know what we haven't done here in a while we haven't shouted out people, so let's shout out some people, because I'm a very poor streamer and we need to shout people out here. So let's do really quick. Let's do Booking Kitties. I don't know if any of these people stream. They just come in, say hi, lurk around, so I benefit them by, or not benefit them, but I reward them with some shout outs. We'll get them into streaming at some point. JP Got Rockets. I know JP Got Rocket streams. And he tried raiding and didn't work, and I'm also going to do there. So ladies and gentlemen, go follow those amazing people. Find out what they do. And check them out. In fact, I think I'm going to go follow Hi, My Name is Scott right now. Because I'm off in December, but I should be able to follow people. Oof, there we go. You are now followed, sir, so I will be able to catch your streams. Alright. This is a very dark brown. Like, this is a black brown, really. And I'm going to use this around the hand of the wood color. So you can bring out, so we can frame in that hand. It looks a little unprofessional at the moment, and then all of a sudden, with just a tweak of some liner, some nice brown liner around the wood and the hand. Don't get any on the hand itself. Stay as much as you can in that little crease. It all of a sudden brings out and frames out that hand. Unless they got, and you can also use it as a little cleanup if you end up getting any kind of ivory on the wood that you didn't want. Just clean that up right there, and that little mistake right there. And with that, you can actually now it's separated. There's that little black hand, or excuse me, a little black line in between the wood and his hand. And I can use this brown liner all over the place. I'll use this brown liner. Remember how I said use the dark brown to act as a little liner? You can do so just by doing that. That frames the belt. And we'll do the same thing up here. I don't actually need to do it there, but I do need to do it here. So I'm going to actually do it around this hand and arm where this wood thing meets. And then I think I've given you everything that you need to do to finish off your piece. If you have one of these, or if you're working on one of your own, maybe you can finish off that piece. But we're going to add this little dark line in here. Make this nice and dark underneath here. And go around this. I know we did the rope with the sepia, but I just want to show you what happens if you choose a darker color around the rope. You choose a darker color, you actually frame it a little bit more. So that's why I wanted to use the brown, especially on the wood, because the wood is pretty dark and the sepia just wasn't really doing it for me. I mean, I still have to finish that bottom rope, but there you go. You kind of get the idea. And then I'll use this black and I will go around the belt. So where that green meets the black, this will separate it out. I'll do it up where the gray is. And when the dark line here meets the highlight that we did on the belt, it actually brings out the highlight more. And then I will take some of this black liner. Let's see if I can hit a little bit in here, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a shadow. I had a hard time trying to find the angle to get this. I think I was a little lazy on that. Oh, I need to get some black lining around the bottom of this green skirt where the gray meets the green. Because that's two areas that are textured differently. Hopefully I can do this clean, so I have to get around the legs. We'll do the same thing around this leg. And what this does is, again, frames the miniature, the parts of the miniature, to show a little difference. So the green is not the same as the gray. And we could have done it with a dark green, but we didn't. This is probably where the gray liner would have came in a little handier. But I think the gray liner is just black liner. I don't know how I feel about the black with that hand. I might change it up. Might change it up after stream. Around the nose, right? I gotta get around this nose. I don't know if I can do this. Let's see. All right. What do we think? I think he can pass for a tabletop quality piece at the moment. I mean, we still have the tail to do back here. All right. I have no gray left on my... All I know is when it gets to this point of the year, everything dries really quick down here. So... but there's a lot more cleanup that I have to do, a lot more edge highlighting and finishing touches. It seems like that's the case on all of these, where I have to do a finishing touch on everything off stream. But hopefully you have enough tools. Hopefully you've enjoyed these paint-alongs. I'm willing to keep painting along next year, as long as people want to do it. Yeah, so I just had to clean stuff up. I was trying to quickly finish him off before the stream, but all the colors are there. It's just kind of cleanup work, more fur, right? And yeah, so I'll take pictures of him, but at least now a lot of that open space, if I open back up to the welcome page, if you look at that, there's no texture on him. All of this stuff right here is just flat area to work with. And so we actually kind of went through and gave him fur, and we will continue to give him fur, but I think he's came out pretty good. And like I said, I have more cleanup, and I have to get underneath because I put him on this big base. He can come off the base. I haven't glued him on yet. Oh no! Well, we'll have to glue that back on. Well, I'll be able to paint the foot now. Well, that's unfortunate that that happened, but maybe that's the point where we have to end our stream. So, let's see. So, with that said, let's turn that off. I didn't even put on the magnifiers today, so I'll have to do that for when I really work on stuff here. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for stopping in tonight and hanging out with me for my final paint along of the month. This was a pleasure. This piece here was a pleasure to work with. So, kudos to Kawna Minis for doing this. A lot of open space on this guy that you can just go nuts with and do all kinds of stuff. I will be printing out another one of these because I enjoyed painting it. I do have some other stuff of hers that I'll be printing out. But thank you. Hi, my name is Scott. I'm just gonna call you Scott because hi, my name is unless you want to admit, unless that's your first name. Hi, my name is, and Scott is your last name. I think I'll call you Scott. So thanks for stopping in, Scott. Thank you for chatting around and lurking in. So this is my final stream of 2023. December, I'm taking off. You will see me around Twitch. I'll be lurking in places, but don't count me out because if I'm asked to do a dual stream at some point, I may just be able to do it if I have the time. So it's not like I won't stream in December. I just won't be doing Tuesdays and Thursday nights as I normally do. I'll be back in January. But just a reminder, if you're in the Northeast area or you know of Captain Con in Warwick, Rhode Island, I will be teaching classes there. I'll be teaching 4 classes, so go check out Captain Con in Warwick, Rhode Island, and see if that's a place that you would like to stop. Even if you're on the West Coast and you're looking for East Coast conventions, check them out. And then I plan on revamping a lot of the stream stuff. I'll put some new rewards in, and I have some new challenges. Maybe we'll bring back some giveaways for my subscribers. Now that I have some painted stock, I just remember doing giveaways and I didn't have any painted stock, but yeah, so next year I plan on doing a lot more of the paint-alongs. I'm planning on doing a lot more other stuff on the stream. So check us out there. If you haven't been to my Discord, please join the Discord. It's not a place that you have to stay in. It's a place for information. So I'll put a lot of information in there. Sometime for the past 2 years, I haven't done it this year, but for the past 2 years, I did some online classes. So they're like free classes. I teach how to do certain techniques, or I'll teach a different skill. And I usually do that in the summer. So you can find those on the Discord. The paint-alongs, all the information is there. Tell you what miniature I'm painting, tell you the color palette that I'm painting. And I'm also getting those up on YouTube. So you can check the Discord for the YouTube links on those paint-alongs. Plus, the online classes that we did is also on YouTube. So it's a wealth of knowledge. Again, I do have the advertisement slideshow every time I stream. It is right... where's my camera? It's right there. That's a slideshow live. If you have pieces that you're really proud of doing, and it doesn't have to be painting, it can be anything. And it doesn't even have to be your best piece. Maybe it's the one time that you did OSL really awesome. You can throw it a picture in my Discord, and I will go ahead and I will make you a promo slide. Every time that I stream, I will promote you. If you stream or if you're on Instagram, you can have people go and check out your awesome stuff. Anytime that I go to a convention, I'll shout out some vendors up here, so you can always check those out. I will do more of the unofficial sponsors next year because I'll be at more cons. I am going to Adepticon, so if you're going to Adepticon, I will see you there. Just probably going to hang out in the paint area, do some paint and pass with YGM monologuing, and look and see what's new at the vendor hall. So a lot of that stuff is coming next year. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for the amount of time that I did stream this year. I really appreciated that. And hopefully we'll get some more time in next year. My days of streaming may change in 2024, so just keep notified through the Discord, or make sure you're following me so that you know when the schedule is, and I'll try to get the schedule out there before 2024. But I might do a Monday and Thursday thing. I might go to Monday and Wednesday. I haven't really decided. It's maybe I get a Sunday night in there somewhere. We'll see. So keep on the lookout for that. All right. With all that said, I didn't even look to see who we can raid on my last stream of the year. So let's go find out who is on that's willing to take me, because JP Got Rockets wanted to raid into me, but I was not raid worthy. I don't know why I'm not raid worthy. I have to find that out. I don't think I changed that setting. I don't even know how to change that setting. Where is my Twitch? Oh, here it is. All right. Let's go find out who's out there to raid. Let's see. Oh, we got Wapelius, Kelly Larson. Barely battle ready. What's barely battle ready doing? World of Warcraft. Okay. We've got Cutie Patootie is on. She's oil painting some D&D miniatures. So Wapelius and Cutie Patootie are oil painters, not acrylic painters, if you're interested in seeing who they are. And we have Kaylee Larson and Good Enough Painting. Oh, Darth Rosie. Oh, Darth Rosie. I'm following her, but I don't know who she is. Let me go see who that is. I've never raided into Darth Rosie. Let's go find out who Darth Rosie is. I think that's a new person that I have not raided. Raid Rosie? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I've never raided Darth Rosie. I'm just waiting for the ad to officially get done. I want to see if I ever raided them. So we're doing Deathwing, Terminator, Weathering, and Basing. Hey, yeah. So I'm following her from somewhere. I haven't ever raided into her, so I think that's where we're going, folks. We're raiding into Darth Rosie. So let me just put that in there really quick. Darth Rosie. Excellent. All right, let's start that raid. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging with me this year. It's been a fantastic 2023. Antifreeze, I will keep you in the know on Discord when I get the new airbrush compressor. That's coming Sunday. So I will chat with you offline in the Discord, or even in JT's streams if you're ever there. Yeah, so let's go and raid Darth Rosie. And ladies and gentlemen, have a great end of your year. I will see you in lurking around Twitch, and we'll see if there's any dual streams in December, but I will see you in January. So ladies and gentlemen, peace. And remember, always think out of the box. And if you think you messed it up, we can fix it. Have a good night, everybody.
might try. No, gel tip! Welcome in, buddy. We got the gel tip in the house. Thank you so much for the raid, gel tip. I hope you can hear me. Hello, gel tip. How are you? Thank you for the raid. How was your stream? What were you working on? Okay, you can hear me? I never know what the ads are doing. I don't know. I'm not a pro streamer. We're just whipping out this Dark Angel. Death Guard Terminator. Just trying to get it done. Okay, so I think it could use more weathering over here. Oh well, we'll just try not to hit anything we already painted. A bit more. Check out Gel Tip, guys. I've been in his stream before. Fun stream. Great painter. Oh, I guess I didn't do this guy's shield. Guys, losing track. Losing track of what I'm doing. Oh, you know what? I have been gone for about 6 months. I was working out of town. And now I'm at the not busy part of the season for my industry, and I am going to be home for a couple months. Yeah, that's probably all. That's probably what it is. Even when I could still lurk around in streams though, while I'm out of town, like not the best reception, so, you know, but, and not during the day or anything while I'm working. I could really only do it after work, so. And then I haven't really got back to a regular streaming schedule since I've been back.